This is our news, the weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight, the Trade Union Congress slams the Minnis administration on weak government relations. Plus, the National Security Minister calls for a reform of the criminal justice system. And an environmentalist questions why the government chose LNG over other energy sources.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks for joining us. Topping the news, the president of the Trade Union Congress is lashing out at the Minnis administration for what he calls its failure to respond to compounding issues with various unions. Veteran unionist O.B. Ferguson says while the government started off on the right track, they quickly headed off the rails, in the process upsetting scores of union leaders and members along the way. With more, here's our Jasmine Brown.
We are not very happy, and I think I can speak for most unions who are involved. We are all having some degree of problems in getting things done on a timely basis, and the respect, there seems to be, the respect isn't there.
Ferguson's comments come on the heels of a nurses' sick-out. Weeks before that, executives of the two unions that represent line staff and management at Bahamas Power and Light went on work to rule after BPL executives indicated the company would be going through a right-sizing exercise. Ferguson says these latest incidents prove all is not well on the labor front.
I'm asking the government to deal with these matters and to deal with them on a timely basis, because the workers at one point would rise up, organize or unorganize, because where people's rights are being tampered with and disregarded and disrespected. Because you know, if you and I have a respectful relationship, even if you can't do something at a time when I want you to do it, if we can sit intelligently and discuss why it can't happen on Monday, why it could only happen possibly on Friday, no sensible trade union leader will do anything to damage this country.
Ferguson says this has not always been the case, noting the unions and government initially had a good working relationship in the months after the May 10th general election. However, he says that has since changed.
Quite frankly, the initial stages with this government, everything was going fine. We had an open door policy, we communicated with the minister, but I don't seem to understand the last couple of months.
The union chief says while he has no issues with Labor Minister Dion Fowkes, he has to do what is necessary for his members and noted it is not too late to get back on the right path.
I thought we would have been progressing because the present Minister of Labor has a working relationship with the labor movement. As a matter of fact, he used to be an officer of one of the unions. So I went on record publicly and I indicated that I think things are going to work. I still maintain I have a very good working relationship with the minister. But you know, we all have a job to do.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. National Security Minister Marvin Dames said there needs to be a serious improvement of the criminal justice system. His comments came on the sidelines of the launch of the National Neighborhood Crime Watch Council last week.
We have to improve. We have to improve our criminal justice system on all ends, and until we do that, we have to make it more efficient. So that, you know, when these persons are arrested, they're put before the courts, the matters come up in a timely manner, so bail becomes a moot point.
He said there are things his ministry is doing in the background to help government achieve its goal of developing safer neighborhoods, one of which is the Bahamas Department of Corrections and its transition into a fully correctional facility.
And so very shortly you will be hearing about some very innovative programs that will begin to issue in the whole corrective side of it from our Citizens Justice Initiative. So we're very excited that that very soon we will begin to really focus on these vexing issues and address the problem.
Government now has several neighborhood watch groups set up through various parts of New Providence. It's something the minister said he helped set up before he became a cabinet minister and was able to take it national.
We have to take full responsibility. We have to be totally committed collectively if we're going to see a change. And we're not asking the citizen to be a police. That's not what we're asking. We just ask them to be the ears and eyes for their community.
In other news, environmentalists are renewing the call for government to introduce renewable energy as Shell Energy North America was recently awarded the contract to build a new generation and liquefied natural gas plant at Clifton Pier. Our Christina Dragovich tells us more.
ReEarth President Sam Duncombe says government has to explain why LNG is being sought before alternative energy is fully explored.
Not today, but for 315 days out of the year, we have solar. We have 9 average hours of sun per day, good sun, that would do well in terms of installing solar. If they're talking about 80 megawatts of energy, why not find 80 or however many warehouse tops that could handle solar to start feeding that supply back into the grid.
And it's not just solar energy. Duncombe says with tides that change every 6 hours and improved wind turbines, there are even more alternative energy options than before.
Why do we keep going back to the same old? Why aren't we looking at trying to put more renewables into our mix? I know we can't go fully renewable tomorrow, but we're not even trying to do a little bit today. I don't see that happening. And so maybe it is happening, but you know, everything is done in secret in this government, so how are we supposed to know? And how do we know that this LNG plant is somehow the best thing for us at this point in time?
Former Member of Parliament Leslie Miller had responsibility for the Bahamas Electricity Corporation under the former Christie administration. In recent weeks, he has questioned where the environmentalists are as the issue of LNG has resurfaced. Well, contrary to what Miller says about environmentalists, Duncombe says she will continue to fight and seek answers.
I'm not getting into a fight with Leslie Miller. I mean, he is speaking out of turn here because the reality is we are speaking out about what's going on. We've spoken out about Oban, we've spoken out about the LNG plant. We are very concerned about the direction this country is going in terms of how we're going to power ourselves.
Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
And we'll take our first break here, but still ahead tonight. Is there a pending price hike for passports? And later on, we count down to our quote of the week. Those stories and more coming up when our news returns.